Hello and welcome to the HTL Sports Betting Podcast, where we do the work so you don't have to. We are coming to you from the Professor's Laboratory. Today is episode 6, which is a preview of week 4. Fellas, I'm going to start us off with another story. I'm going to tell you guys a tale of unemployment, okay? This one might hit close to home for some of you. Others maybe not. So, it's been 6 years or so since I've been job hunting. So it's it's a revelation for me, and I didn't realize how much times have changed, but I'm going to explain something to you guys. So I recently had an interview a couple days ago, and I was very excited, happy to, get back on that saddle, so to speak, get back into the workforce. And so I get my collared shirt, wore a collared shirt for the first time in probably 3.5 years. I get on my mobile, sign into the to the interview, and I'm greeted by my interviewer's name is Alex. Okay, now Alex,
shout out Alex,
is an artificial intelligence.
What?
Okay.
Oh wow.
So my interview
take back my shout out.
And what this is, so basically you hold a tryout with the robot, and the robot deems you worthy enough to speak to human beings. For the second part.
Is this a movie?
This happened to me. Okay, so I wanted to talk about it. I saved this. I was going to tell you guys before. I was like, let's just wait for the podcast so we can all enjoy it together. So yeah, it's basically a tryout. You have a tryout with the robot, and the robot decides this guy's up to snuff. He can handle it. He should be able to talk to actual human beings in phase 2 of the interview process. The interview lasted 15 minutes and was the most difficult interview I've ever had in my life. There was no, hey, how you doing? Any luck finding, did you have any trouble finding the place? Anything, nothing like that. We were down to brass tacks immediately. There was no hesitation. The first question had to do with what would your first 30 days be at the site, and what would you do to improve performance? And I'm like, you didn't want to ask me like where I went to school, like a little warm-up question. There's none of that.
Was that the robot's job?
That was the robot's job. The robot asked these questions. They were pinpointed directly towards the business.
Was this in person?
No. I was on a phone looking at a transcribing of me speaking, and then the robot was on the right-hand side.
Humans were listening.
I maybe. I don't know. But I was intimidated enough, so I don't even want to go down that road. 15-minute interview. I think I did okay. The robot, at one point, the robot did compliment one of my answers, and I was not expecting this. Went directly to a follow-up question regarding one of my answers. I said the word KPI, key performance indicators, thinking I had it, and they came back with, go into detail about some of those key performance indicators, and I said, and it transcribed, and that was when I knew I was in trouble. So if you guys are having interviews in the future, maybe I was out of touch, I didn't know. Robots are now running the screening in a vast majority of work settings, so be prepared for that.
They're not going to be able to understand me.
Can't say I've seen that before.
I had not either. I was ill prepared, but we'll get them next time. Now I'm acquainted.
So they didn't say you were dressed good?
I was going to say.
No compliments, nothing.
Was it even needed? Like the colored shirt, was it even needed at that point?
I don't know if they judge or not. I'm not sure.
Was there video, or was it just transcript?
My face was on there, and then there was a picture of what would have been a human being on the right-hand side. The human would have been Alex, but it was a robot talking to me.
Were you wearing khakis also?
I had sweatpants on, but they were none the wiser. All right. So let's go ahead. I'll kick it over to Will. Let's get started. Let's go into this preview for week 4. Will, going into this, what are you most excited for this upcoming weekend?
Not Florida, that's for sure.
Understood.
I'm excited to see Arch Manning's first start, see how he does. Because, he's got not really a tall task replacing Quinn, because he's got some pieces around there. But I think it really just depends on how long Quinn is out. If he has to go play Bama or Georgia, down the road, then that'll be a tall task. But I think Quinn's not going to be out that long. So, but yeah, I'm excited to see Arch Manning's first start.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. Brandon, let's go ahead. We'll kick it over to you. Let's get going with the games of the week. I think we all have picks. So I think we're all prepared for that. You want to get us started?
Games of the week?
Whoa. You're not going to pop the top?
Give me. Here we go.
Thank you.
Now we're ready to
Come
go.
on now.
So, games of the week. We got USC versus Michigan at 3:30. After that, 30 minutes after that, for some reason, we have Utah, Oklahoma State at 4 p.m.
We have multi-view. It's fine.
That is totally fine. YouTube TV, shout out. We got Tennessee, Oklahoma, prime time,
Sponsor us.
7:30. Finally, we have a college game day at prime time, actual prime time, instead of going game day, then kicking over 12 o'clock. We're straight into that game. So
The way it should
thank
be.
God ESPN has started to recognize that the fans want the best games of the week on prime time.
Only took 4 weeks.
Yeah, so I'm excited. USC, Michigan. I've become a Michigan hater ever since they played Texas. Got some friends that are Michigan fans for whatever reason, and I don't know what it is. Michigan wins one Disney World championship, and then they think they're the greatest team to ever live. So I'm really hoping to see USC take this ball game. Miller Moss, he's on the Heisman finalist chart. He's got odds on him top 10. So hoping for a good run from him. Utah, Oklahoma State. Not too familiar with this game or these teams. So hoping Utah pulls it out though, because Oklahoma State's quarterback's like 35 years old. He probably needs to be interviewing with AI Alex at this point.
So is Utah's, though.
True. I like him better for whatever reason, but more so excited for Tennessee, Oklahoma, just because it's a SEC matchup, and I'm a Georgia fan, so I don't like Tennessee all that much, but I do hope Tennessee gives Oklahoma a warm welcome to the SEC.
Will, I'll go ahead and kick it over to you. I'm sure you have some thoughts on this game. Go ahead and give me some analysis, and then what's your pick that you're going to go with?
For the Michigan one?
Yep, USC, Michigan.
I think USC is going to win this game, first off. But I think they're also going to be able to score a decent amount. But I also believe Alex Orji's starting for the first time. I think
Indeed.
he can do some things with his legs that not a lot of other people can do.
Really?
I think Orji actually has a good game, but I also think Miller Moss is going to have a really good game because they have some speed on that offense.
I agree with that.
So does that mean USC I think Michigan's the teams that they've played in the last couple weeks, they had a guy that could quote unquote throw the ball, but it looked like they were run defense, no matter what anyway, just to put, I think Michigan's quarterback before was a walk-on guy, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think they, defensive want him to throw the ball. I surely see Orji, they want him to throw the ball. So just straight run commit from USC here?
Probably, but there is some element to you can only run commit so much when the quarterback is the one doing the running.
Yeah. It's more about contain.
Yeah. So, but my pick for this, I think it's actually a pretty low total. I had over 44, minus 110.
That's what you're going with?
That's my pick.
That's almost, it can still happen with mine. So I'll go into mine. Big things for me, you brought up Orji, dual threat guy. I think that's an interesting component. I don't know if USC's had to deal with something like that yet. So that'll be an interesting challenge. But I also don't see them taking the reins off of Orji. I think it's going to be like a pretty basic offensive package. USC also has the rest advantage. You guys know how I am about that. The rest advantage is a big deal. Extra week to prep for Michigan. That they were looking forward to this game anyways, and they get an extra week to prep for it. So to me, that holds a lot of weight, especially when the line was only like 5.5.
I think so.
I mean,
I think it's gone up since then.
So for me, I think they're going to make it tough for Orji to make explosive plays. So I think those are going to be tough to come by. I think they can get some yards, and they move the ball on the ground okay. They got a couple good running backs. But I think for the most part, just with the rest, and Miller Moss I think that's an X factor to me. I think he's a top 10 quarterback. I like what they've been doing defensively, held LSU to 20 points, and we know they can score. So I'm going to go with Michigan under 20.5 points in this game, minus 135. Nate, what do you have on this one?
Yeah, so I'm kind of going to go a different direction on my pick here. So the way I look at this game is we all watched LSU play USC. Both defenses weren't great in that game, but we did see USC had improved run defense. They were really stopping up the gaps. LSU couldn't get much going on the ground. And then the thing is with Michigan, like y'all just mentioned, I think Orji is way too one-dimensional. USC is about to stack this box and make him beat him with his arm. So with that being said, I don't think he can do that. I don't think either Michigan quarterback can do that. We've seen that in the last few weeks. So I'm going to go USC minus 6.5 for plus 110
by a touchdown.
Yes,
well, plus money.
And I'll be honest, like Michigan's defense is still good. Like we know that, but Miller Moss is an elite quarterback, and I think at the end of the game, like they're just going to tire out the corners.
Yep.
I mean, it's just simple as that. Either it's going to be a late score or it's going to be a 2-touchdown game. Either way, I think they're going to win big.
I'm with that.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go USC points here. Actually, no, I'm probably gonna go USC spread. I mean, looking at the stats right here, Michigan's offense is the second worst in the whole Big Ten.
It's bad.
They averaged 329 yards on the ground. They played 3 games. They haven't even broken 1,000 yards of offense yet. And then you go on the flip side and you go to USC and their defense, which, like Nate said, more improved rush defense. I want to say they are 6th in the Big Ten in run defense. I mean, they're only allowing 200 yards on the ground, I think, as a team right now. So, I mean, you stack the box. I don't think, obviously, Michigan's coaching staff hasn't seen anything that Orji can do as far as throwing the football. That's why he literally went in there and, lost his starting spot. And then when he went in there previously, it's just all run plays. So I think this game stacks in USC's favor. A team that already beat LSU, so, they've already been tested this year. So I don't see Michigan being a threat anymore.
And Michigan has no chance to win a running match.
No.
No chance at all.
I also think with the Michigan already losing to Texas, just team morale as a whole is like they don't have it this year on like championship hangover, I guess, but they just don't have it. I think the season's already over for those guys.
All right, so we'll kick it over to Utah and Oklahoma State as our second game of the week. I don't have a ton. It's 2 key components for me. Oklahoma State is a pass first. They've struggled establishing the run even against lower comp. I think that continues. I think that becomes a difference maker, and also Cam Rising is expected to be back for Utah. So that was the last words, that he is expected to start. He is a touchdown machine. With that, I think the value is fantastic. I saw Utah at plus 120. I'm going to go ahead and take the upset.
I was hoping no one else would find that value as well. But I also at Utah. It is dependent on Cam Rising. If he doesn't play, I think it's Oklahoma State. But expected to play. You never know with Cam Rising, though, his injury history. So
he could only make it through 2 quarters.
Yeah, we'll see.
True.
But the team is just so much better with Cam Rising at the helm. And I think the only reason they are plus money right now is because there is question that he doesn't play. I think once he does officially get, cleared to play, they'll go down to minus money.
Yeah, it'll become more of a pick'em. To me, it's already close to a pick'em.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've looked at Oklahoma State over the past few weeks, and the one thing I noticed is, like you said, they hadn't established a run game yet, but they still are capable of the big plays. Look what they did against Arkansas. That second half was big play after big play. And if Oklahoma State does get their running game going, I think they're an elite team. I know they got an old quarterback, Will, but
it's the battle of the old QBs.
He's shown he can do it. So what I'm going to do in this game, just because Oklahoma State still is a tough place to play. I know Utah's good. I know they've been doing their thing this year. But I'm going to take Oklahoma State money line. I'm going to go with that at minus 135. I thought about going minus 2.5. Sorry. I thought about going minus 2.5 for Oklahoma State. But I think this could come down to the wire, like maybe a missed 2-point conversion or a field goal.
So, just looking at the stats here, I think I'm with the boys over there. We're going Utah all the way. Oklahoma State has the worst defense in the Big 12. They're giving up 462 yards a game. Utah, on the other hand, is giving up almost half that at 252. I think that's what wins them the game. And I don't think, Cam Rising obviously has been here for like what feels like 15 years now, so been there, done that.
Started school when I did.
Yeah, so I think that just experience level on offense is what carries them to a win here.
Yeah, I like that. Anything else on that game before we go into my personal favorite of the day, Tennessee, Oklahoma?
I think it's going to be a really good game.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Tennessee, Oklahoma. I'll kick it back over to you, Brandon. You've got the biggest stake in this, so go ahead.
Yeah, so we've already gone ahead and put it in. We're going Tennessee -6.5. Wouldn't be mad at -7. Wouldn't be mad at 7.5. Wouldn't be mad at 10.5 if you could get it at 10.5. Just the things I'm seeing. The first reason I don't like Oklahoma too much is I think that they lack an identity on offense. I don't think they really know what they are yet. Whereas on the other hand, Tennessee is the SEC's leading offensive team right now. These guys, they just. And, to the stats point, they're actually the leading defensive team in all of the SEC right now, which you don't really see a lot from the Tennessee Volunteers. But, I mean, you take a team that averages 639 yards per game to the Oklahoma Sooners that only average 325, and then you flip it on defense, where Tennessee's only allowing 160. I know they haven't played anybody big yet, but Oklahoma hasn't really either, and they're still allowing over 260 yards per game. So I think this is a big welcome to the SEC for Oklahoma. We got Tennessee -5.5.
Yeah, you can make the argument. You can make the argument that Oklahoma has faced tougher comp. If you count like Houston and Tulane as tougher comp,
a lot of late scores, not much going early.
But the biggest thing for me, y'all, is Tennessee is outscoring opponents 191-13.
Yeah,
that is made up. That's a video game. I think they got a ton of momentum. And it's not, they're not struggling versus bad teams. They're not looking ahead. They're doing what they're supposed to do. They know they've got a good program, and they're just doing their job right now. And I think their job continues against Oklahoma. Like you said, I think it's a welcome to SEC ball. It's just going to be a different animal. I also have Tennessee -7.
Yeah, I think Tennessee's offense is absolutely dangerous. I think they can score on just about any defense out there. They'll probably have some fits with like a Georgia, Tennessee, or not Tennessee, Texas. But I think there's some definite their offense has something there. So I also went Tennessee -7. I think for the value, it's a little bit better than 6.5, and there's push potential. I think this game could get out of hand. But I think Oklahoma is a little bit better than what we're giving them a little credit for. But yeah, Tennessee -7.
Nate?
Yeah, so I don't know how many of you people out there have ever been to a Tennessee game, but I was in Neyland Stadium a couple years ago. On the way out, me and my wife was yelling at each other because we couldn't hear. We were near about deaf. It was so loud in there. And I heard Rocky Top play by the band every 30 seconds. Oklahoma's never faced anything like they're about to face that night. I'll be honest, if they go out there and struggle to score early like they have in the past, this could be a blowout with how Tennessee's offense is looking. I'm telling you, when you're there, I don't know how they're going to communicate because we couldn't even talk when we were sitting next to each other. Yeah, it's bad. But with that, I'm going to buy it up. I'm going to go Tennessee -7.5 at +115.
You're bold this week.
Dude, I'll be honest.
You got a wild hair.
I'll be honest with you. If I could get this game up to -14, I would take it.
Oh my God.
I really think Tennessee is that much better than Oklahoma, and Oklahoma is about to get shocked by what they're walking into with that stadium.
And Tennessee does this just about every year. They come in, they beat a bunch of people by a lot every single week, and then they face the big boys, and then they end up being an upset at the end of the year. So I see this as another game where they kind of make a statement and know that they have to win these games to make a playoff push. So I like Nate's point. We're going like Tennessee as high as you can get.
If Oklahoma don't score early, this is going to be ugly.
Yeah, there's not going to be enough time for them to come
y'all remember
back.
the Kentucky-Tennessee game? I think it was last year or 2 years ago that everybody thought Kentucky was going to hang in there. They couldn't get started, and Tennessee blew them out.
Yep.
One last thing. Nate, how do we say the Tennessee's quarterback name?
Nico?
What's his last name? I don't know.
I think I can get better at this. Emi Levian. No.
Whoa.
Hold up. I'll try again next week.
Okay. We got the whole season, man. You're going to get this down. All right, so that's our 3 big plays. Let's go. We got a surprise for you. I'm going to kick it over to Will, and he's going to introduce our next play of the week.
Welcome to the toilet bowl of the week. Kind of fitting that it was kicked over to me. think we all know where I'm going. It's Florida versus Mississippi State. Florida's been embarrassed by A&M and Miami, and then Mississippi State just lost 41-17 to Toledo. It's pretty bad.
It's a tough look.
It's pretty bad. Probably the two worst teams in the SEC.
I don't think there's a doubt.
Yeah. Mertz has already been confirmed starting. We'll see how much DJ plays. So we'll see. I'm against a lot of Florida fans here. I don't mind Mertz. Do I think DJ's better? Yes. But when we're acting like Mertz didn't go like 24 touchdowns and 3 picks last year.
It's clear the offense is better when DJ's in the game.
I think it's because they don't give Mertz any time. He gets 2 drives and then they pull him. But then they also give DJ 1 drive and then pull him. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, stick with a quarterback.
Yeah, just not able to establish any rhythm. So what do you have on this game?
I honestly don't know where to go with this game. I could see this game being 45-42 because both defenses suck. But I could also see it being 13-10 because both offenses suck.
True.
So we're going to go on one end of the spectrum. We're going to go over 57.5. It's so high. It's so high.
I love it.
But this game could be like 42-38 because literally I think Florida can score against Mississippi State. We've shown that we can score against a bad defense. And I think Mississippi State's passing game is not that bad, especially over the middle of the field. And Cam Ward destroyed us over the middle of the field. So I got over 57.5.
I'm not saying Toledo's bad, but they put up 41 against Mississippi State, right?
Yeah, a lot of teams can probably score on Mississippi State, though.
So fun fact here, Toledo put up 41 against Mississippi State, and they are the second worst defense in the SEC. Can anybody guess who's the first worst defense in the SEC?
Florida.
They give up 407 yards per game.
That's my thoughts exactly.
Mississippi State gives up 388 yards per game.
Not as bad.
Now, I mean,
That's way better.
it's not as bad. But like going back to our point when we got Tennessee, Missouri, and Georgia all give up less than 200 yards per game defense. So, I mean, just huge jump. It's funny that they're 1 and 2 in the worst positions in the SEC. But you go offensively, they're actually right next to each other again. Offense, Florida gets 398 yards per game, where Mississippi State gets 375 yards
Not
per
last.
game. So,
Not last.
no, not last by a long shot. That's the Kentucky team that almost beat my Georgia Bulldogs. But
So what do you have on this game, Brandon?
I have Florida minus 5.5. I don't know why. I just think, I literally just think, my notes say Florida has looked terrible, but Mississippi State has looked worse. Mississippi State really hasn't faced a good team yet, and they're still 1 and 2. I could say, you could put an argument that Florida has faced some decent comp for the most part. I think, Mississippi State, after losing to Toledo, that's just an absolute heartbreak. It's like, I think the whole locker room is fighting against each other right now probably after that. So I see Florida winning this one by at least a touchdown probably.
Wrong.
Yeah, I have dogged Florida in every episode we've had.
For good
Every
reason.
episode. I said I was done, and I'm going to go by my word right here. Florida by a touchdown. If DJ gets, I guess, what are we expecting? Switching out every other drive?
With Billy, who knows?
Because I know Napier came out and said we expect Lagway on the second or third possession. If DJ gets most of playing time, I think Florida could actually handle this game pretty easily.
One QB should get all of the playing time.
Yeah, but
I want it to be DJ, yes. But I would rather Graham Mertz start than play 50% each.
so playing in this game, he will not burn DJ's red shirt at all. He might as well get the win and try to save his job.
We're going to burn it eventually. Like, it's going to happen.
What is it now? Is it 9 games now?
See, I looked it up. It's technically, you can play in 8 games.
8 games. Okay.
But it's 4 regular season games, and postseason doesn't count.
So Florida will not be there.
Yeah, so
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that part.
so you can technically play a max of 4 postseason games if you're in the playoff. So that's why they said 8 games max.
So how many can DJ play in the regular season?
4. He's
4?
already played 2. His red shirt's going to be burnt.
Yeah.
It's going to.
Well, if you're going to burn it, you might as well just kick
Start
Merch
him.
to the side. And I'm not saying Merch is an awful guy, but I'm saying like just kick him to the side at this point.
Yep.
Let DJ play.
That's what I'm thinking the same
like
thing.
if he plays, Florida wins this by a touchdown. I've seen the explosiveness he has.
Fun fact: even though Mississippi State's defense is so bad, they have a guy who's tied for first in the entire NCAA in tackles. Dude has Isaac Smith. Dude has 43 tackles through 3 games.
What position does he
He's
play?
made every tackle that team has.
Pretty much. I believe he is a linebacker.
If he's a safety, that's why they're so bad.
Oh,
they're
that's-
getting
yeah,
the
that's a
third
He
horrible-
is a safety.
That's
That's
why.
terrible.
That's
Third
terrible.
level, he's got to make tackles.
That's
If
so
your
bad.
safety is
Getting to the
leading
third
tackles-
level.
How many interceptions?
0.
How
No,
many
he's
interceptions
got
does
to
Mississippi
tackle
State
it. They don't
One
caught the
pass
ball.
deflection. 0 though. 0 interceptions.
Oh my gosh, dude! Alabama's defensive line has like 15 pass deflections.
So for this game, I'm playing for, these are 2 teams that know they need this game. So I'm going for a competitive game, in which case it is going to be a Mississippi State cover, which is, what was that, plus 5.5 or
It's
plus
6 now.
6? Perfect. So there's push potential with that. I'm fine with that. I think the game, I just think it'd be fun for this game to go down to the wire and just see who takes
True.
it home.
3
So
to
I'm
3.
gonna go with the Mississippi State cover plus 6.
3-3 ball game. DJ has the ball in his hands with 20 seconds
That's what
to
I'm
go.
saying. Just some
It's
magic
probably
at
going to
the
be like
end.
another 4th and 27 where there's just a blown coverage.
Whatever it takes.
Yes, something like that.
Good one.
Anything else on this one? We're gonna go to individual plays next.
I'm actually excited for it for
I'm
no
gl-
reason.
I'm
at all.
glad
I'm
you're
excited.
excited.
For it.
We need to have a will cam for watching this game. I will probably every single play is going to be a roller coaster.
If Napier loses this game, the boosters are already talking and they've already raised money according to what I've seen. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. If he loses this game, he's done. He's done. I mean, he's done after this week.
He's already done.
He's already done.
I mean, he's going to be done quicker.
I don't think I think regardless he's going to stay the rest of the year because it tanks recruiting so bad when you don't have not a quarterback, a head coach for 7 weeks.
I mean,
Very
the
true.
way Florida's playing is tanking recruiting.
Yes. But it's not going to get better if we fire him.
All right, so let's push on to individual plays. I'm going to stick with the theme from Tuesday, and I'm going to have Nate go first. So go ahead and give us your your 3 individuals.
I'm going to go through these fast. And just for you, I don't know if y'all were here listening to us on Tuesday, but this is my last time picking for the beautiful American Athletic Conference. Next week, I will be doing the Big 12.
So excited for you.
So excited.
It's like a promotion.
But with that
It's like
being
the opposite
said,
of getting fired.
Yeah, I was
guys,
about to say, yeah.
this weekend is Military Appreciation Weekend for me. I'm going with a few different teams. So to start off with, I'm going to go Army minus 6.5 against Rice, and you can get that at minus 110. Army averages 390 rushing yards per game, which is first in the FBS. Rice is 87th in the country. They allow 151 per game. Army is about to destroy that defensive line. And get this, Bryson Daly's only thrown 10 passes this year for 101 yards, and they're beating everybody. I mean, they're beating down on everybody.
That's wild, just knowing what's coming and you can't stop
dude,
it.
their offense is really good. Now, I'm not saying they'll stack up against a Georgia or Bama, just cause the in the trenches, right? But they are going to mow down Rice. And Army is already at 780 rushing yards through 3 games this season. So take that with what you want. I think Army is going to win this game easily. My next game, and this is going to be my plus money play of the week, and y'all bear with me here. I'm going to take Navy money line over Memphis, plus 285. Now,
God,
listen,
you're a rebel.
Memphis does have a good run defense, and Navy, obviously, they run the ball just like Army, just not quite as good. They average only 280 per game.
Good start. Okay, I'm
But
with you
I
so
will
far.
say- well, I will say last year this game went down to the wire in Memphis, or at Memphis, sorry. Navy rushed for 300 yards, and the defenses just could not hold up at the end. With that being said, Navy has not lost too many players. Horvath is a pretty good quarterback. They're throwing the ball more this year. He also gets a lot of carries himself. I think if they can establish the run game and their defense step up just a little bit, they can win this. And it's at Navy, and I'm not sure if y'all have seen many of their games, but their place is a nightmare to play. So that's a risky one, but honestly, I like this more than North Texas over Texas Tech.
Okay.
I'm bold.
It's
You're-
bold.
saw how
every
that
week
one
you're
turned
bold.
out.
It's
Every
bold.
week.
Plus money play has got to be bold, man. And at plus 285 is not, I mean, don't get me wrong. They're big underdogs, but it's not crazy. It's not crazy. Actually, Georgia Tech was more of an underdog to Florida State than this. So,
Okay.
I think if they run the ball good, they got this game. Next is my lock of the week, and I'm taking Tulane versus Louisiana minus 2.5 for minus 110. I ain't got much to say about this. Tulane has shown this year they've had a pretty tough schedule. Their record doesn't show what they're capable of because they played Oklahoma and who was it? Was it Kansas State?
Ooh.
For who?
Tulane. I know they played Oklahoma.
I think it was Kansas.
It was Kansas State, and they were
Sounds right.
Either way, they were in both those games that they played, and they're scoring pretty well too. So last year, Tulane was favored in 11 games and went 10-1. So I'm just going to take them on the spread on this because I really think as competitive as they are and as tough as they are, they will win this game by more than a field goal. But I can get that at minus 2.5. And guys, I'm just going to throw a fourth one in here because it's my last time ever doing the AAC.
Fun.
This one's bold too, and I'm going to roll with it. Give me East Carolina University over the Liberty Flames.
You said you weren't getting off the train.
I'm not
Over
getting
Liberty.
off the train over Liberty. The only reason I am going to continue with ECU and the way they play is their defense is so good. If they can just get a few critical drives down and score, they're a deadly football team. It just depends on Garcia. I mean, at the end of the day, you're gambling on him.
He was limited to, only one interception last time out. So
Yeah. Now, that pick I threw in there just because they're my babies. I got to go with them. I've said from the beginning of the year they're going to be a really good football
we
team.
all got to have a team. I get it.
They got to be a team. So I'm going to take them at plus 205.
All right. Nice. All right. We'll go over to Will for your Big Ten plays of the week.
Just a little side note here first. So we have Thursday Night Football going on in the background. In one of my leagues, I started Ramondre Stevenson. He just put up a whopping 0.2 fantasy points.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many yards rushing is that?
23 rushing yards,
I think I could do that.
but he fumbled the ball. So, yeah.
I could do
A
that. I could
whopping
definitely do that.
0.2 fantasy points. So, yeah, not a great start. But, yeah, we'll go into my plays. First play, Penn State versus Kent State, over 55. It's a high number, but Penn State's team total is at 49.5, and it's favored to go over.
I was about to say, do you expect them to score all 55?
It's a possibility. I think this game could. If you give me 7 points from Kent State, I'm ecstatic. If you give me 3 points, I'm chilling. And if you give me 0, I still think it could hit. I think this game is like 56-3, which is over 55.
Indeed it is.
Yeah. Then going into my lock of the week, Notre Dame over 34.5 points scored. They just put 66 on Purdue, which is a better team than Miami, Ohio. Leonard looks good running the ball. He needs to get better throwing the ball. I think they'll actually try it this week, and I think he'll be able to. So they'll have some explosive plays. And then they're just going to overmatch them as well. I think they'll also run the ball pretty well. Then going into plus money play, I was debating on between two. Decided on this one because this guy was my dog of the week last week. Rutgers money line plus 130. I'm going to trust in Kyle Monangai and the dominant run game over there. Virginia Tech's defense, their run defense especially, is pretty shaky. I think Rutgers is going to be able to kind of slow the game down. And then also a little stat here for you. Rutgers last year played Virginia Tech. It was a home-and-home series. Rutgers won 35-17, and Monangai went 34 carries for 256 last year.
Oh my God.
So I think he's going to do the exact same thing.
That goes in play with what I had for that game, which is Rutgers over points.
Yeah.
So
I think Rutgers is going to be able to score, and I think they're going to be able to score at least 1 point more than Virginia Tech to
at
win
least
the game.
one.
Yeah, those are my plays.
All right, we'll kick it over to the ACC. I'm going to start with Clemson and NC State. Clemson is minus 20 favorites in this game, which is just wild considering NC State was a top 25 team like 2 weeks ago. I'm staying away from the spread, even though it's like probably deserved. I'm going to go the points route instead. NC State gave up 51 to Tennessee and 20-plus points to both Western Carolina and LA Tech. Clemson's coming off a bye week and putting up 66 versus App State. They should easily clear their point total, which was egregiously low at 27.5. Like, I think that's an absolute layup, which makes it my lock of the week. So Clemson over 27.5 points at minus 120. I'm going to move on to my plus money play. I hope none of you watched the game last week, but since I had to, Virginia and Maryland on television last Saturday was just
That was bad.
maddeningly bad football.
Go Turtles. Go Turtles.
So this week, Virginia's got to travel. They're coming down to play Coastal Carolina. Coastal's offense has been solid. They put up like 55 against Jack State in week 1. They look pretty good, and they tend to play well at home. But to me, this is more about how little I trust Virginia to make mistake-free football. Turnover margin is the name of the game here. Coastal has a +4 in turnover margin. Virginia has a -5 in turnover margin. These boys do not take care of the football. Give me Coastal Carolina with the upset at +155, which I also thought was crazy value considering they were at home. Last one. So I desperately need to go 3-0 here. So I almost skipped the plus money play. If it wasn't like such an awesome one, I would have probably just skipped it and hope you guys didn't notice. But I believe in that one, so I feel good there. I'm going to go over to Miami versus South Florida. Miami are minus 16.5 point favorites. To me, they're still the most dangerous team in the ACC. I am seeing so many. So now I'm unemployed, y'all. So watch a lot of YouTube, watch a lot of videos on college football. This is like a classic trap game for Miami, and I get that. I understand. But they're still the most dangerous team in the ACC. South Florida also played Alabama, and people are like, but they hung with Alabama. And I'm like, they lost like 41-16. So how much better is Alabama than Miami? Probably not that much better, right? So, I mean, I'd say Alabama is probably a better team overall. I just think they're overall like all-around better team. But Miami is number 8 in the nation. And when the line's only 16.5, like that's 2 touchdowns and a field goal, they can win by that much over a team like South Florida.
So be 3 scores.
That's only 3 scores. So give me Miami minus 16.5. That one was also at minus 120 when I saw it. And those are my ACC plays. We'll kick it over to Brandon for his SEC plays of the week.
Yeah, over here in the SEC, we got, Georgia, Alabama not playing this week. So, it's kind of a sleeper. But I got to start it off. We got Arkansas, Auburn. Okay, I got over 56 at minus 110. I would say that kind of flirts with the lock of the week. Just a quick stack. Arkansas, 8 games last year that went over 56. This year, they're 3 for 3 on games that go over 56. Quick stats check. Taylon Green is 4th in the SEC with 800 yards passing so far. Jaquindon Jackson, Arkansas's running back. They've played 3 games. He has 397 yards on the ground. So, a lot of offense. Hopefully, Auburn can do a little bit more on offense to add to this 57 total, so we can, start flirting better with our locks of the week. Because I know we missed on our lock of the week last week. So, we'll go from there. But yeah, over 56. Sorry, I see that hitting pretty easy. I know my notes I see this game being like a 30-plus to 30-plus type game. We'll go over to what I also see as a pretty decent pick here. We got LSU versus the UCLA Bruins. LSU coming off a tough-fought game against South Carolina, so I think momentum's kind of riding high over there. On the flip side, UCLA has the worst defense in their prestigious conference. We got LSU minus 13.5 in the first half at minus 125.
Okay.
All my notes say is UCLA is an awful football team.
That's what the notes say.
Yep, the notes never lie. LSU will have no problem moving the football at all. Should score at least 21 points in the first half. This goes back to Alabama versus what was it? Western Kentucky that played week 1. Mm-hmm. I don't think LSU punched the football one time in the first half.
Okay.
UCLA just isn't prepared for this offensively. I don't think they hang at all. I don't know if they'll be able to move the ball. I know their defense definitely isn't prepared for this game. So we should see a big stats game from the entire LSU offense. Now, plus money play of the week. It's at even plus 100. It's the only pick I had in the SEC that was even or plus money. It's Texas A&M plus versus Bowling Green. We got Texas A&M -7 first quarter. I know Bowling Green might be a decent football team, but they don't play nobody. So rolling into Texas A&M, I don't see them being prepared for this game one bit. I see Texas A&M's defensive line being what it is, absolutely swarming their quarterback. They're not going to be able to run the football. We're not prepared for that as Bowling Green. So first quarter, let's really hope that this has push potential as well. So we can always hope for that. And it's -7 first quarter at plus 100.
That's all you got?
That's all we got.
Man, fellas, that was as efficient as it gets in terms of individual plays. We're finding it.
I mean, I have a pick for every game in the SEC.
Yeah,
I
do.
Just for time purposes.
I already put them all in.
Yeah, they're in.
In my Bovada account right now, I have $15 worth of value in reward points because I've been betting so much these last few days. So, but we are in the green, so we're doing the right thing.
I'm in the green as well, especially in the Big Ten. If I've said it, I'm already done. Not betting on any other conference at all, and especially not the National Football League.
No.
Screw that.
You guys remember the quote from last episode? Inch wide, mile deep.
True.
Inch wide, mile deep.
Very true.
All right.
Is it
Yeah,
time?
I think it's time. So we'll kick it over. We got a decent amount of time for some baked beans, Nate. So if you got a few topics, let's dive right in.
Yeah, so I know we talked about 2, and I'm just going to throw a third one in there. It kind of relates to college. So I'll start off with that.
So much fun.
Cam, listen to what I say here.
Oh God.
Not what I hear.
Not
what I hear. Yeah, that is a dandy of a quote.
All right, so I'm just gonna kick off the first one. This one's gonna be a little surprise for y'all.
Are we tracking?
Are you trying?
Y'all tracking? Okay.
I got so many of these.
So this does have to go to the NFL, but it relates back to college.
Okay.
What do y'all think about Bryce Young losing his starting job?
I think Tom Brady said it best. Whereas back then in the National Football League, these guys would be really, really good in college. They would go to the NFL. They would be drafted high. But they sat for 2 to 3 years. I mean, that whole time period, they're watching somebody like an Aaron Rodgers watching Brett Favre for year after year after year. You're watching somebody that's great do it, and you can work on those things in practice. You're not thrown into the fire instantly because we all know that college and NFL is like a completely separate ballgame. So I think him losing his job is just a factor of being thrown into the fire too quickly.
And that's the way the Packers are like the best team about doing that. Same thing with Jordan Love. Like Jordan Love has to sit for 2 or 3 years, but then he gets the opportunity and you see he's ready. He's got composure, like looks good in the pocket, able to make plays. Like he doesn't look like a rook, he's not a rookie, but he doesn't look like a guy that's never started a game because he's had those reps to get himself ready.
He had no time to learn.
Yeah. I know he's a little bit older, but with the Falcons situation, I kind of love it. Having our new guy watch Kurt for a little bit, I think that's going to help them in the long run. And
you can see it with all these first rounders, especially high picks. Like they're the ones that are thrown into the worst situations too. It's not like the Panthers were going to be bad regardless. Like it was just a bad football team.
He gets punished for it.
And then he's the one that looks like, not that he's looked bad himself, but was he put in a position to succeed? I don't think so.
That Bryce Young has had out of everything on the offense, had the worst position in the NFL. Yeah. He's had the worst O-line, the worst wide receiver room, the worst tight end room, and they freaking paid Miles Sanders, and he sucked.
Yeah.
So he had and then they drafted a running back high, and I believe in Jonathan Brooks. He hasn't played yet.
I mean,
you're seeing the same exact thing with Caleb Williams right now. He's probably has one of the best wide receiver rooms in the NFL.
But he's still
and he looks like he
day
sucks
one.
out
He's
there,
day
and he just
one.
won a
He's
Heisman.
day
He's
one.
running
man.
for his life.
Exactly.
You need an O-line with a rookie quarterback.
you can't really compare college to NFL. I'll say this, though. Watching Bryce Young at Alabama, he was one of the most confident quarterbacks I've ever seen. I saw a video of him the other day with the Panthers. He was just walking off the field.
He looks depressed.
Yeah, he was walking off the field with his head down. It's like he does not know what to do anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's his fault or it's the Panthers' fault, but I'll just say he was not put in a position to succeed.
For sure.
Even
Not at
3
all.
years from now, he's not in a position
Not
to
at all.
succeed.
And especially
Trade
in a
him.
position that takes you get a guy who's really, really good on defense. I think you can kind of plug and play those defensive players or a running back way more quicker than you can a quarterback.
For sure.
Well, they
For
also are able to rotate in and out.
Right.
So if they are having a couple bad snaps, it's like, okay, well, then there's no escape when you're the
Quarterback's the
quarterback.
hardest position to play on
Yeah.
the field as
Yeah.
well.
I think Belichick said something like that on Monday Night Football, where these colleges have done a really good job at dumbing down the system to where it's very, very easy for them to understand. And the NFL, they just don't do that. They can't do that. These defenses are too good. These defensive coordinators are too established in the leagues. They know what they're doing. I mean, you can't dumb it down for guys that just come from a system that's easy and works for them to this massive NFL that's super complex and way too hard to understand.
He also got
One.
a whole new system year two.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
Frank Reich came in. That was a horrible hire. And then now you got Dave. I think Dave Canales is actually going to be good. He revived Baker in Tampa Bay.
The GOAT.
So, but yeah, he had to learn a whole new system in year one, and then turn right back around and learn a whole new system in year two.
Has there been a rookie quarterback that's had a ton of success year one or year two?
I mean,
CJ
especially but even he didn't have a good first game.
No, yeah.
It's like it takes some reps, and then the thing with CJ Stroud that was different is he had a lot of pieces in place that he could rely. He had a top wide receiver room. He has guys that he can go to. He's got guys that he can trust. So I think that's a different set of circumstances for him, and I think that also helped him be successful faster.
Yeah,
What's funny too is the Texans drafted Tank Dell, who's obviously been a hit along with CJ Stroud. The Panthers have drafted Jonathan Mingo, who last year had a highlight where he jumped out of bounds trying to catch the ball. Literally his feet were in bounds and then jumped out. And then Xavier Leggett, he's actually looked pretty decent. He doesn't have
dude from South Carolina.
the country accent. Yeah.
He's a good interview for sure.
For sure.
He doesn't look bad. It's
We'll
just
have to
his,
have him on.
We'll call him on the cast.
it's not the type of receiver Bryce Young needed. He's a deep threat, go up and get it kind of guy.
Yeah, Bryce doesn't have time for that.
He needed a
I mean,
He needed
who
a
was their wide receiver
short
one
route.
last year? Adam Thielen.
Thielen, my guy.
I mean, he's a good receiver, but is he an NFL number one receiver?
He shouldn't be.
Not anymore.
He's been a slot. I mean, he's been a slot guy his whole career.
Right.
He's comfortable in the
He's
slot.
been behind Diggs and then was behind Jefferson.
Yeah. So, last comment on that. You guys out there just keep tracking. Keep tracking if you weren't before. So, kind of like Brennan said, just going.
Let's circle back.
Just going back to his comment on how much more complex the NFL is and then college, and I even think that comes to play calls. Have you ever heard the hot mic of Sean Payton's play calls?
Oh, it's insane.
Yeah, paragraphs.
I don't know how anybody remembers that ever.
No.
Which is why pro quarterback is the most difficult job on the field.
Isn't it the same thing with Shanahan as well?
Yeah.
And McVay?
It's crazy.
It's so long.
Yeah.
Crazy. But yeah, just moving on. We're going to jump back in the college football here. We got two more. We're going to knock them out real quick. So one thing we want to point out that Will actually told me not too long ago is the SEC has 6 out of the top 7 teams in the rankings.
It just means more.
9 out of the top 25 or something like that?
Yeah. So
It just means more.
what's y'all's thoughts on that? Is the SEC just
We're probably going to get 4 or 5 teams in the playoff. I have no clue who's going to win the SEC. It probably won't matter because the team that makes the SEC championship will get in, and probably the 2 teams below that will also get in the playoff. It really just depends on who gets the bye.
the way they're looking right now, and I know Bama Mizzou has to play Bama Tennessee. Everybody has to play each other. I could see a scenario where much more than that get in just because of how tight the top of the SEC would be.
I think it'll literally just be because they're going to beat up on each other. And they, like, the committee knows it. Everyone thinks that they have an SEC bias, and for good reason. The SEC is the best conference in the country. But I think the max, like, with how it plays out as well, like, 3 other conference winners have to get in. A group of 5 school has to get in. There's only so many spots to go around. That's why I think 5 is the max for the SEC.
As long as Notre Dame stays Notre Dame and does not make it, and then a group of 5 team, like only 1 gets in, not multiple, I think there could be room for 5. I mean, dude,
I think 5 is the max. I think 4 is the most likely.
So who are the 5?
I could see 5 getting in just because of the bracket and how it works in the committee.
And maybe a 6?
I could look at this SEC list and see 8 or 9 teams that are probably worthy of getting in. So with those being said, I mean, like, I see Tennessee getting in, should be getting in. I see Georgia, Alabama, Texas getting in. I see Ole Miss getting in. I see LSU sneaking in somehow. If Arkansas can manage to win some tough games down the road, I could see them making a run at it. Maybe South Carolina, because they played LSU good, if they can win out. I mean, really, there's 4 teams I don't see getting in, and that's Florida, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, and probably Auburn.
Not Kentucky. Kentucky's cooked as well.
Yeah, no, Kentucky's cooked too. My bad. 5 teams.
Yeah, Kentucky's probably
Yeah,
cooked.
I think the 5, like, if I were to, I think 5 teams probably get in. If I were to have to choose between all 5, I'm taking Georgia, Texas, Bama. I think those 3 are the locks. They
those
will
are
get
the
in.
3.
And then I think Tennessee will get in. Oh, it's so tough.
There will be a 3-loss SEC team in the playoff.
And then I think Ole Miss gets in. I think Missouri will just miss out strictly because there are so many good SEC teams.
I see Missouri sneaking in strictly
I have
off
Missouri
their
getting in.
schedule. Because their schedule is so easy that they're probably only going to lose 1 game. So, I mean, you take a 10-1 team in the SEC, there's no way they're not going to get it.
I have Missouri as well.
I think
It's between them and Tennessee for me.
I think if Mizzou goes 9-3 and like they finish strong, I mean, even with that record, they could sneak in.
I mean, let's be realistic here. We could have an 8-team SEC playoff and just go ahead and throw Ohio State, USC,
In Oregon
and
then the group of
Miami
5, yeah.
and call it a day, you know?
and ECU or USF.
Yeah, ECU maybe.
See, like,
North
that's the part of the
Texas.
playoff that I don't really like is that, you know, one of those schools like Eastern Carolina has to get in, and they're just not ready for that. I like
mind
the
it.
fact that they can get in and might make a run somehow, but let's be honest.
I like it, though.
They're outside the box. Boise State, the way they're playing, could make a couple upsets in the playoff.
The reason I like it is because those teams complain
That's my
every
exact
year.
reason.
Every
True.
year they complain like, well, if we had a shot, we could have made some noise. And it's like, okay, well now you got a freaking shot. So let's see if put your money where your mouth is. Let's see if you
Now-
actually
yeah.
have a shot at doing any of this.
Now we can't have a 2017 UCF situation where they're proclaiming themselves as the national champions.
Or,
When-
last year's Florida State team.
Yeah.
Sorry, had to throw that in there.
If they met, who was in the championship that year? Was it Georgia Bama?
I think it was that Georgia Bama. I'm
I
pretty
think it
sure
was.
So.
Yeah, Georgia Bama got put in over them, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Or it might have been Georgia.
Yeah, if they met either of those teams, I'm thinking the spread is 34
That's
and
what
a
I'm
half,
saying.
and I'm taking
That's what I'm
Bama
saying.
to cover.
I mean,
This is why I like having that. It's just it gives them
They
an
can't
opportunity.
complain
No, you
anymore.
can't say anything after the
It
season's
was
done.
actually a good last year. We talked about Florida State, how they went undefeated and then played Georgia in the bowl game and got beat like 63-0. So
Literally, that was such a beatdown. That was bad football.
Yeah.
Wasn't even fun to watch. Well, it was fun to watch. Yeah, it was fun to watch.
It was not. I hate both of those teams with a passion. So I was hoping for the stadium to collapse.
That's the only win you would have had.
Man. Yeah, so
You got one more for us?
yeah, so this last one we've done in one previously, we're gonna make it quick. We're just gonna go around real quick and talk about some Heisman favorites and maybe throw in one that may not be, nobody's talking about anymore. So I'm just gonna start off by saying at this point, I think Milroe has shown out, and you can say Jackson Dart, whatever, But Milroe has, 14 touchdowns we saw already?
Yeah.
14 already. He's throwing the ball really good. He's adapting to the offense, and he's not even 100% in it, and that's scary, seeing what they did with Wisconsin. So that's just who I got right now. I think, what is it, Brendan, plus 1,100?
Yeah, I think Milroe, as of, I think, like 2 days ago when they updated this, is now like 7th in the standings at plus 1,100.
That's crazy.
But, I mean, if I had to pick a favorite right now, I mean, obviously you got Dart in there, you got Ewers, Nico, however we say his last name. I think Carson Beck kind of dropped out of that after this poor performance against Kentucky. We'll see what he does against the big boys in big games. I mean, you just look at a stats thing. Jackson Dart, they've played 3 games. Dude has 1,100 yards. I mean, touchdowns are one thing. I'll give it to Alabama and all that, but 1,100 yards through 3 games is on pace for what, like 5,000 yard season.
The one thing that he's going to run into trouble with is we saw last year, especially when he went into Athens, is he struggles against these better teams. And I'll be honest, that dude got put on the ground so much last year. I mean, if that happens again this year, he's not going to have a chance to even show that he can do it.
Yeah, and it's kind of upsetting that the Heisman race is now just a quarterback-only race because there's a few running backs that I could potentially throw and see as a Heisman. I mean, like we talked about Jaquindon Jackson from Arkansas. Dude's already almost at 400 yards through the season, through 3 games. So, I mean, he's on pace for like a 1,500-yard season on the ground, which would be unheard of. So, I think the standings right now are Ewers, which he's probably going to drop down a good bit after his injury. Then we got Nico, Carson Beck. Cam Ward would be a good pick at plus 825. Jackson Dart still at plus 900. Dylan Gabriel, and then Milroe is at 1,100. So anybody you pick there is going to win you money.
So
pick the right guy.
So I've got Cam Ward as I'm a little biased at this point because I had Miami at the very beginning, and Cam Ward is the staple of that team. So Cam Ward is this guy should win it. But I have a sleeper for you guys. He's only played 2 games, but one of them was extremely good. Cade Klubnik. Plus 4,500, obvious long shot, but he has very big games coming up. And I think if he shows, he threw like 5 touchdowns in his last game. So if he has a few games like that where he strings together, not saying he's going to win, but he might make some noise and climb in the rankings. So that's kind of a dark horse for me right now.
I think Milroe is my favorite right now, and I think he will end up winning it. But I have 2 people that I think people aren't really mentioning because this maybe slow starts, or they also had a bye last week. People haven't really mentioned Dylan Gabriel anymore. He's out in Oregon. He's going to get big games. He's going to be able to do some things. And then True Allers look good for Penn State. I think those 2 are pretty sleepers. Avery Johnson's got a shot, but it just depends. I don't think he's going to put up enough stats. But, yeah, I think Milroe's the favorite, but definitely some sleepers between Aller and Gabriel.
No, I like those.
Yeah. So just a quick around the room. We got about 2 minutes. I personally think Quinn Ewers is out of the race for the Heisman. Personal opinion here, still think he's a good quarterback. I just want to go around the room, yes or no, what your thoughts are. Brendan.
Yes or no on
Is Quinn Ewers out of the Heisman talks at this point with all the talent that is up there with him?
Not yet.
Not yet? Cam?
He lost a step. I'm going to say he's not out of it.
He's not out of it. Just depends on how much time he misses.
Yeah, that's the big thing is does he continue to miss weeks? Anything else, y'all?
That's it.
It's about time to wrap this thing up.
I think it is.
All right, y'all. Very excited about this weekend. Can't wait until next week to tell y'all how we did. But that is it for this episode. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Toilet bowl.